Hafade, this is another episode of Questions for the Curators. In commemoration of the 100-year anniversary of the dream of the Guam Museum, the curators for the Guam Museum, we are answering questions that have been submitted by the CHamoru community, the Guam community, people on the internet. And so, the curators for the Guam Museum, Wahusi Lujan Bevacqua.
Wahusi Kelly Marsh-Taitano.
We are answering two of your questions that were submitted. This is the episode for April 2026.
So a couple of questions were submitted that basically asked, how did ancient CHamoros or Imanautamotna, how did they make stuff and how did they cook their food? So with making stuff, you have to think about the environment that surrounded them. The sea, the land, that was their supermarket, that was their hardware store. But it wasn't a matter of just simply going and getting it. You had to make the tools first, you had to create the rope first, you had to create everything from scratch to be able to even gather the resources. And then for the cooking, so the types of cooking I'm most familiar with is they would have cooked in a pot. So we see pottery everywhere. They were prolific potterers, and they would have maybe used an earth oven, a tsahan. We do still see the remains of the tsahan around. Or they would have cooked over an open fire, maybe wrapped whatever they were cooking in leaves and cooked it that way, which is a very delicious way to cook.
Havade, this question is about typhoons during the Spanish period of Guam's history. And the Spanish do provide us some documentation. In the 1800s, they write about different typhoons that come, how many people die, what is lost. One of the most interesting examples, though, comes at the earliest. One of the most consequential typhoons comes during the very early period of the Spanish colonization, when they first arrive during the Spanish-Chamorro Wars at the very start, when the coalition of Jarao is laying siege to the Spanish forces in Hagatna, and a typhoon hits. And basically Chamorro forces, they lose their will. They return, they break their lines, many of them go home to help their families rebuild, look for food, and so the Spanish take this to counterattack, they break the siege, and the Spanish priests write that actually many Chamorros took this as a sign that the spirits of the Spanish were stronger than the spirits of the Chamorro, and some willingly came to convert to the new religion because of this.
So if you have a question that you'd like us to answer, you can post it on our social media platforms, or if you're in the vicinity of the museum, you can look for a box like this and write it out on a sheet of paper and place it in the box. So just maasi, and we'll see you next month, and maybe one of your questions will be chosen.